Hello and welcome to Ruler 3's video review for Guilty Gear Xrd for the PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4 from Arc System Works. So this is the newest entry in the Guilty Gear franchise and the first fighting game in the franchise in terms of not being a re-released version of XX, just adding new characters. It is actually a brand new fighting game with new characters, new storyline, and all that good stuff. And it's a great entry point for those of just getting into Guilty Gear, want to get into Guilty Gear, and it is still one of the best fighting games on the face of the earth.
First we retrieve Seoul, then to Japan.
Should we prepare payment in advance as usual?
No doubt he'll demand it. 300,000 world dollars should be sufficient.
The story of Guilty Gear Xrd takes place 1 year after the events of Overture. For those of you who have not played Overture, you're lucky. For those of us who have, you kind of know what's going on. For those of you who don't, basically there's a new group on trying to destroy the world called the Valentines, and the story of this one is one of them, Rementhal Valentine, has declared war on the world, and it's up to Kai, Soul, Chip, Slayer, and all them to prevent this from happening. As well as there kind of being also another shadow organization known as the Conclave, also up to something that doesn't seem to be just being destroying the world. On the whole, it's a very good story for the fighting franchise. It's the first one to actually really have a story mode, which is also kind of a bad thing in this one in terms of how they did it. All it is just basically watching a 2-hour movie, which is kind of a disappointment. The arcade mode is kind of a prequel to the story mode. It kind of sets up where the story takes off in terms of obviously being a prequel, as well as having a couple cutscenes and stuff. And I really enjoyed the arcade story mode. Other than that, like I said, it's a solid storyline. It's a great entry point for those of you who don't know anything about Guilty Gear, because you don't really need to know a whole lot about anything. And if you don't, there's a mode called the Database, which will catch you up on everything, because it has every known article about Guilty Gear in there known to man. So you can catch up, figure out who some of these characters are and what's going on in the world and what happened in Overture. But like I said, it's not really that necessary, as this is kind of like a soft reboot in terms of story.
I keep all my promises. I promise. Chip, win, straight.
Guilty Gear's combat is really good if you're into the more anime sprite fighters. It's quick-paced and action-oriented, although I do feel that Xrd is slightly slower than the previous entries in the franchise. It just feels like some of the commands are a little slower, as well as combos not quite getting as hectic. But then again, I'm not that great at Guilty Gear's heavy combos. But just overall feel, it just felt a little slower than previous entries. There's, I think, 15 or 16 characters to choose from, each with unique fighting styles and move sets that you can master. All good. It's not obviously the large roster from XX, and a lot of characters are missing if you've played those. But I feel that having only 16 focuses not only the story, but allows them to kind of build on this a little bit, since I do feel the combat's a little slower, to kind of rework some of the other characters and so they can be put in better. Other characters do make appearances in the story mode, but that's a different issue. There's a couple modes. Obviously, I talked about arcade mode, which takes you through kind of the prequel storyline. Story mode, there's a mission mode, which has you do different types of missions, such as beat so-and-so with XX move. Also challenge, which are the character-based combo tasks, where you have to input certain combos in order to pass the challenge. There's a bunch of those. I think there's like 30 or 40 for each character. I'd have to double check, but there's a lot. Practice mode, online mode, all of those modes are in there. And this is a really tight fighter. Everything flows really well. It's very fluid. All the characters play well. I really enjoyed my time with this game, just playing it, as well as just getting back into Guilty Gear. And this really, I'm hoping that this game is able to revitalize Guilty Gear a little bit, since it's been MIA for the past few years.
I see, of course. Oh, every man needs a best friend. Finally, I can uncover the truth behind my greatest failure.
Guilty Gear XR is a great fighting game. Arc System Works proves once again that they know how to make a fighting game, and it's great to see Guilty Gear come back after such a long absence. I'm giving Guilty Gear XR a buy rating, and that's it. I'm done for the year with reviews. I will be back mid-January for the first retro review, since I'm starting that up again in the new year, and hopefully continue doing that throughout the year. At least 6 months worth of episodes done, so that's always a good sign. Until then, I'll be posting stuff on the website news-wise, so check out rule3.com for all of that. Like us on Facebook and Twitter. Subscribe to the YouTube channel that you're watching this on, or if you're on the website, go to the YouTube channel, subscribe, so you get all the latest updates when I put up videos. And that's it. Like I said, the first new game I will be reviewing, just for the people, so people know, is going to be Dying Light, which comes out, I believe, towards the end of January. Thanks for listening, everybody, and until next time, always remember to trust in the rule of 3.